Grateful day, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Lachelle Denis, and I'm here with the sensational Thomeka. But I haven't spoken to Thomeka for quite some time. I actually just jumped in her DM and was like, hey, you want to come on a podcast? Because she's definitely been an inspiration to not just myself, but others over the years with her perseverance in climbing the ladder of success through healthcare. And quite recently, I guess over the past 3 years, she actually ventured off into doing financial services, which is something that I'm quite familiar with because myself, I'm actually in financial services as well. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Thomeka so she can let you guys know a little bit about herself, and then we're going to jump right into it.
Oh, hey everybody. Hello. Well, as she mentioned, I am Thomeka. And yes, we met while I was working in long-term care. Did long-term care for a good 15 years, and I'm still in it. Started out working in social services, and then I got my license to be a nursing home administrator. So I was an assistant administrator, and then I became a nursing home administrator as well. I did that for 6 years, and then I had the wonderful opportunity to become a regional director of operations, and I worked in that capacity for 3 years. That's when we met. And I'm still rocking in that thing as an administrator, but also adapting a new role, which I'm so excited about and grateful for that opportunity in financial services, where I am again a regional director, but it's on a different level. I mean, it's a different game, and it's awesome, and that's where I am. That's where I am at this moment.
So basically, leadership is pretty much the name of your game.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Leadership.
So, what is like some of your tactics and style when it comes to leadership in the workplace?
Just being the example when it comes to being a leader. You want to put yourself in the position where not only are you, dishing out different things, but you're willing to do the same thing. Because in leadership at a very, very early age, I learned and I saw that all eyes are on you. And everybody is watching. They're watching all the time. If you tell people don't go through that door, and then you turn around and you go through that door, like, you're not being the example, right? If you tell people to not use your cell phone and you turn around and you're using your cell phone, you're not the example. So definitely being the example is one. It's always good to catch somebody doing something great, so easily as leaders in every aspect. You find people doing things wrong all the time, but to see people doing something good and to call out the good things that people do is a very essential role when it comes to leadership.
I definitely always say, from my take on leadership, I've been in the leadership role for quite some time in healthcare as well. And one of my greatest challenges was really learning how to like stay calm when people want to act a fool, because they can act a fool, and it's not really warranted, and it's pretty obvious certain times with certain situations, like, hey, this was spelled out, laid out. This is not something you're supposed to do. Or, hey, you're supposed to be at work at 6:30. I expect you here at 6:30, not 6:35. And a lot of times you'll have employees that'll come in and be like, I'm just 5 minutes late. Okay, well, still got to get this discipline because you're supposed to be here at 6:30. Not that I won't even say. I think the grace period is like 7 minutes. Actually,
in our world, it's 7 minutes.
It's 7 minutes,
and people live by that.
For real. I actually remember when I first started working, I had a supervisor who held me to that, and I remember a time where, we had a real bad snowstorm, probably like in 2007 or 8. And I was probably one of the only ones that got to work that day, but I was also like on a discipline level, so I had no choice but to be there on time. So one day when I was like 8 minutes late, and it was literally like a minute, and she was like, well, you still have to be reprimanded. And I'm like, well, why can't you just count it from that time when I came in this blizzard? And in my mind, it should have counted, or she could have gave me a pass, but rules are rules, and I got a disciplinary action for it. So.
I believe
I
it.
did not really think it was fair.
I believe it.
But being older and now in management, I understand that you kind of have to be straightforward and to the point, and you have to be fair across the board, whether it's 7 minutes, 10 minutes late, 1 minute late. You have to set the standard. For everyone else. And if I let you get away with a minute or two, then I also have to let this person, and then it becomes a domino effect, and then it becomes a stressful workplace.
You said it. You said it.
So, what inspired you to get into a leadership role, or did it just find you, or were you just like, I know I'm a natural born leader, and this is the road I'm going to take?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it just kind of found me. And yeah, to piggyback off of that, I think that I have a lot of natural born leadership traits. You know, when I got into the role, it's like, look, you get out of school, you got this degree, like, what are you going to do? And essentially, I had to start from the bottom with that. And, you know, I had opportunities come my way, and, you know, I played the role in those opportunities, and I showcased my talent, and I was able to take it from level after level after level. So, you know, that's where I came. I don't think that I was inspired by any particular person, but I did know that I wanted to do something from a leadership standpoint, especially, you know, being the person behind the scenes and seeing things run in a certain way, and just thinking that, you know, maybe if I put my little touch on it, things could be a little different.
I will say leadership is not for the weak.
No,
it is not for the
absolutely
weak.
Not.
It's challenging every single day. So, has it ever been a time in your career where you felt so discouraged or so stressed out where you just said, I want to give up? Like, this is not for me. I just want to change courses and to do something else. Healthcare is not where it's at. Forget all of this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I don't think that, yeah, I mean, we feel that way a lot of the times just because of the challenges that are brought forth when it comes to, you know, the realm of healthcare. I wouldn't say that it was leadership necessarily that made me feel discouraged, you know, but just the components of the job, you know, as far as what we do in long-term care in general, and some of the politics behind it, you know, that part can be stressful, you know, whether you're involved in a situation or not. And sometimes things can be discouraging, especially when other people have a platform in which they can dictate their future. So not the leadership, but just maybe the job in its own, because man, I've been blessed to work with some incredible people, you know, just coming up in the ranks, and people who actually pull me up, and some maybe not so much so, just coming into leadership at a very young age.
Services too, even the ones who, you know, slam the door in your face. Yes, all of that is necessary.
Absolutely. They help mold, you know, and I was young, you know, I had situations in which I have people who I'm leading and directing, and they're twice my age, right? So that is a challenge in itself.
So age really doesn't play a factor in maturity.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I've always been a little mature for my age, I think, and others have always, you know, told me that. But when it comes to leadership, it's like, look, you know, it's not necessarily about the title. It's about, you know, how you make people feel and how you treat them, and treating people equally, you know, and fair at the same time. Like, that's something that I'm real big on, is being fair and straightforward. And, you know, it's worked for me.
That's good. Yes. I definitely believe in being fair. It helps a lot. So what is like one of your greatest accomplishments being an administrator?
Being an administrator, or being in long-term care and working my way up to being a regional director of operations. That's one of my greatest accomplishments. And I say that because at a time when I actually became a regional, there are no, within my particular company, there were no African Americans in that role, let alone females within that role.
Okay, so breaking barriers.
Yes. So I did that at a very young age. I think it was like 35, 36 when that happened. So that was crucial for me. Yeah, it was real big, real big and exciting, and definitely led with gratitude with that one.
Okay, so switching gears a bit into financial services, how did that come about for you?
Oh, okay. Well, financial services. So when I originally got into financial services, I was a regional director of operation. And hey, you know, you got to pay the cost to be the boss at all ends. And that particular role came with extreme burnout and exhaustion. And it was a lot going on at the time. So for me, I'm just like, what is it that I can do that essentially I don't want to have to start over, you know, starting over and then going back to school? Nothing against school, but I put in my time, so I wasn't looking to do that. So I saw this opportunity to work in financial services. I had a wonderful example in the family. One of my cousins is in financial services, and he was rocking and rolling at that time. And it's like, hey, you know, I have a strong work ethic. I can do the same thing that you do, that you're doing, and what you have going on. So I wanted to learn more, and yeah, it's been on ever since.
What's like the end game for you going into financial services, or what are you hoping to gain going into financial services?
Going into financial services is a platform in which you help other people, right? You help other people when it comes to financial planning, building generational wealth, right? So that's something that's exciting in its own. But then when it comes to the benefit for myself, I'm looking to be financially free in the long run. I'm looking
financial freedom.
Man,
definitely.
That's a big one, right? I'm looking to be an owner of my own time. You know, with so many different elements to what I do in financial services. And, you know, more than anything, one of the biggest takeaways from that is it's just the growth, right? And how you can put other people in position to do exactly what you do.
That's big.
How you can make other people win, because maturity for me was realizing that just because I'm successful, I mean, that's a great thing, but I can bring other people to the top. You know, you can send the elevator down and bring it on up for other people to grow and do exactly what it is that you're doing. So that's what's exciting to me, and that's really the end goal for that.
So it's fair to say that people are your passion.
People, oh yes, I love people. I love people. I have a heart for people and a helping heart.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Because it definitely it gets rough with people. Some people just gonna leave it there.
Yeah,
Some
it is.
people are great.
It is, but you just move past those folks. You know what I mean? And even when ugly people come in your way, I mean, it's a lesson. It's a lesson through everything. You know, God put those people there for a reason, and it's for the growth and development of you. And it's all about how you handle your own self, because you can't control other people, right?
It's crazy because God definitely be speaking, and sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, especially when a person may have not handled you properly. Tell me about a time where it was nothing but God that allowed you to handle a person differently than how they handled you.
Okay, sure. I mean, we're talking workplace and the professional setting?
Like for me, it was a time where I had an employee. She was actually a cook, and I had to kind of have a very uncomfortable conversation with her about hygiene and just making sure you come to work kept and presentable, especially with us, handling food. So that's really big. And I thought I did a good job. I brought her in the office, and we had a one-on-one conversation. It seemed like it went well, but then like the next day, I get a call from the administrator like, hey, come to the office. This person called corporate because they felt like you were talking about them in a negative way. And I'm like, that's funny, because I thought that we actually had a pleasant conversation. I actually thought about how I was presenting myself to her. It's a very delicate situation. And I thought about what I was saying before I said it. So I really thought, I'm like, oh, it went well. It was better than expected. But the whole time she was feeling a different type of way. And she didn't vocalize that to me, but she did with the administrator in the corporate office. So I remember being, I would say like maybe the next day or two, I was in a store about to buy me some gym shoes. I'm like, I don't really need no gym shoes. What am I even doing here? And then I heard Holy Spirit say, buy the shoes for her. And I was like, wait a minute, gosh, she just called corporate on me. She's trying to get me fired. What do you mean buy this girl some shoes? And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm gonna be obedient, because when it's so apparent who's speaking, you kind of don't want to go against that. Like I don't really want to feel the wrath. So I'm like, okay. So I end up buying her the shoes, and she was very, very grateful. She's like, no one has really done something that's nice for me, and we actually prayed together in my office. Wow. Had I probably not done that, I don't know exactly what she took from it in its entirety, but for me, it was the turning the other cheek type thing. Even though this girl really could have gotten me in some type of trouble, but by me being obedient, nothing actually came of that situation. And it actually went over pretty well.
That's
so
awesome.
like something like that, where it was like a real struggle to extend grace to someone.
Yeah.
Because
well, let me just say this. We
know.
are human and we make mistakes, and in the workplace and the real world, it's difficult when people don't speak their truth, right? I mean, I had a situation where a colleague, things get messy, right? They get messy sometimes, but it's like accountability is everything. If you do something, if you lead in a certain way, stand on whatever it is that you did, right?
So what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Oh, my 20.
Because I now see you glowing, and we just had a birthday not too long ago.
Yes.
So just from that point to currently where you are, what advice would you tell yourself?
So 20-year-old self, that was 20 years ago, right? And definitely wasn't always in this light. Everybody's seeing me from where I am now, which is a great place. But my 20-year-old self, I had things going on. I actually had a child at 20 years old. Right. And that moment at that time, young adult, still trying to figure it out,
At 20 years old, at 20 years, I don't know which way is left, which way is right.
Don't know which way is left and up and down and all of those different things. And, it's like that naturally for a lot of 20-year-olds, maybe not everybody, but to have a child at the same time, it makes it more of a struggle. And, it was difficult because it's like I'm trying to figure out what I want to do educational wise. And right after I had my son, I didn't have a job, right? Because I had to take care of my kid. And I was a single parent, shortly after that. And, I still have my parents. I still live with them, by the grace of God. That's amazing. But even
definitely good to have support. But I know a lot of young mothers don't have that support. It's very difficult.
Yes, my parents were awesome, and they did well by me. But even still, it's like
they can only do so
much. You can only do so much. You still are an adult in that sense. So to my younger self, it's like, hey, Miss Lady, look, keep on rocking, keep on going. Because one of the things that I didn't stop doing was going to school. Like I continued with my education. I didn't know what I was doing because even at 20 years old, I was almost like a professional student. I had been in school for so long, but didn't have a clear path as far as what I wanted to do. And that's frustrating. That's frustrating, especially when you have somebody else to depend on you and to depend on your income. So, my 20-year-old self is like, hey, just keep going, don't stop. And then you get that fire under you because, hey, there are stereotypes that comes with being a young single parent. You know what I mean? And it was like, people don't say things, but it was there. And I really, really wanted to overcome that and, have a better situation for my son and for my future in general,
So you didn't let the stereotypes like weigh too heavy mentally? Because it probably would have kept you there had you did.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I think sometimes people take their situations because I was not born in a 2-parent household or because I was a single mother, but clear case, even though that was your story then, that does not have to be the end all be all. You can raise your child, you can become successful, you can climb the ladder, but it's all a choice.
Definitely. I had all the benefits that came along with it, every type of aid and assistance, that came along with it. But I know that's not where I wanted to stay, and I wanted something better for myself. And I was with my parents. I want to get up out their house too. Like that's something I want to do forever. But just looking on that, because that was maybe one of the lowest points in my life. You think you're doing something, you just had a child, and it's like, what did I really do here? You know what I mean? Like, what am I leaving for him, and what kind of example does he have?
That's big.
So
the generational things of what will I leave for my child. I'm very, very big on that now, and I think about that a lot. Like, I actually was just speaking with one of my cousins about what will we be leaving our children. Like, do we want to leave them dysfunction or do we want to leave them the generational wealth? Do we want to leave them with the financial tools and the financial literacy to become something and be great contributions to society? And I don't know if a lot of people think about that, because even being in the financial service business, I talk to a lot of people. And when I ask that question, like, what are you leaving for your children? And a lot of people's like, I never really thought about that. And it's kind of sad that in our communities that we didn't sit down at the dinner table and talk finances.
We didn't.
And I wish we had a lot more, especially like for me, just now becoming more financially literate, and that's in my 30s. And like we both discussed when we were talking offline, that no one is coming to save you.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
You really have to have that mindset that no one's coming to save me. And I think a lot of times we look for people to come and say, whether it be mom, whether it be a relationship, whether it be friendships, like, what can you do for me? And really at the end of the day is, what can you do for yourself?
Exactly.
And having that strong mindset and that strong will to be disciplined enough in something to make something happen.
Yep. And that's what it was, at a young age. I realized that, like, if I wanted different, if I wanted to do something, it was all totally up to me. My parents was there as a nice security blanket in a sense, but it didn't fully, put me out.
You didn't like settle in that.
Oh, absolutely not. Okay. And it wouldn't have got too far. I mean, my parents weren't like they weren't like that at all, so it wouldn't have got me too far.
Like,
but
okay, I'm gonna give you an inch.
Exactly.
Don't try to take them out here now. It's like entry level in the position. I would always like shy away from the administrator. Here I am sitting next to the administrator, interviewing the administrator. But in my early years of being in healthcare, I was like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want them to say nothing to me. I'm just going to do my job and keep my head down. And that was like my introduction into healthcare. And then I realized over the years, like, I would get swallowed up that way. Like, I would not like healthcare if I didn't stand up for myself or others when things were wrong. And I've done that a lot, to the point where I put my job on the line trying to stand up for others. And I always just say, let the chips fall where they may, because I understand if I have to stand for something or nothing at all.
That's right.
And I want to sleep well at night. And even if, say, I got let go and this person stayed, I know God must have something better for me, because I did do what was right. So one of the things that I noticed from your social media is that you traveled a lot. I saw Paris, and I think I saw London. How was that for you?
Oh man, that was amazing. I went to London this year. And I went three months ago to that. But it was amazing. I mean, one of the special things about London was that I got to speak. My team and I got to speak. We got to speak with people and be an inspiration to them. Like, that
this was through financial services,
yes,
right? Okay,
that was amazing.
Financial services
is doing some
things.
Take
some trips.
Look, come on. And I mean, I've been real shy when it comes to social media in general. Like, hey, I've actually went to Hawaii this year. I have never even posted that, and I probably will one day. What else? We went to Atlanta. We went to Orlando. Like, it's a lot going on.
And very, very recently, you just had a birthday.
Oh, yes, I did.
So you want to tell the people how old you made?
Oh, I'm 40 years young.
Does she look 40, y'all? Isn't she beautiful?
40. Oh, thank you. You're so
what is
kind.
it? 40, Flirty and Thriving? Was that a movie?
I think so. Flirting with 40 and Fabulous. One of them things.
So going into your 40th year around the sun, how was that for you?
It's been a blessing. I've been excited to get there. I mean, you and I spoke a little earlier, and we were like 29. It's like, hey, I'm 29. I ain't 30 yet. You know what I mean? But like, going into 40, like, I've just embraced it. I've embraced it, and everybody who's already in the 40 club been so welcoming to me. So I'm excited about it.
I've always embraced how old I was. Like, I'm currently 37, and I'm cool with that. Yes. Like, I never want to be like, oh no, I'm 21. I mean, a lot of people tell me I don't look 37.
You don't.
However, I embrace it because every day above ground is it's grateful, which is why I say grateful morning a lot, or grateful day, because I'm just grateful to be here and another chance to either inspire, another day to love my daughter, love my family, and just breathe life. And as difficult as growth and taking accountability is and change, I understand now that it's inevitable. So either you're going to go against the wave or you're going to kind of flow with it. Yes. And that's really big. I think a lot of people get stuck on what should be or what it should look like, or comparing themselves to other people versus just understanding this is my lane and I'm gonna drive this lane as I see fit.
And that's what it's about. You can't compare yourself to the next person, right? It's your journey, right? You got to enjoy getting there. You have to. And I'm real big on that. I worry about what's in my lane and what is for me for sure,
And they say what's for you won't pass you by. So a lot of doors that have been closed, maybe it just wasn't your door to walk through.
That's right.
And the right door will open. I will say the way me even interviewing Thomeka was I started seeing her on social media. Now I check social media, enough to kind of know like, oh, I ain't never seen her post not one picture really, not anything. So I just saw this like vibrant person on lives. I'm like, Thomeka doing lives and she just out here talking. Maybe I don't know what's that 40 club just. You know what I'm saying? It put on it gave you some type of inspiration, almost like I'm coming out. That's kind of how I was looking at your videos, like, hey, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I've been hibernating for a while, but now I'm here, and whatever's coming my way, let's do it. So once I seen that, I was like, well, maybe let me just ask her if she want to come on, because I do remember you. Every time I've seen you in facilities, it's always been a welcoming encounter. It's always been pleasant. I've never had any like weird energy around you, which is probably why I felt a little comfortable with just inboxing you like, hey. And
so happy you
did. We literally like right down the street from each other, didn't even know it this entire time. So I am really grateful to have you, and thank you for coming on and answering my DM, because I know this was like totally unexpected and it's way out of your comfort zone. But I think you already put one foot out the door when you started doing your lives and your giveaways and things like that, and talking to people. This is not easy. I think a lot of people know just getting on camera, even in your own home, is not easy. I've been thinking about doing a podcast for years, and this is this is like the closest that I've actually gotten to. And for me, I still get nervous. I still get really, really nervous. And I don't really know why. And it's crazy because a lot of people be like, you're a natural at it. But I think I have to believe that I'm a natural at it.
And that's where it starts at. That's where it starts at. Sometimes we just have to get out of our own way. Like, we just got to get out of our way. And even with me doing the lives and being on social media, like, my baby sister had to beat me. Like, I had so much stuff already planned to do. And I just, hey, it's something different. But a lot of the times when you want to do something different, you want to see something different, you got to do something different, And just kind of stepping into my 40th year, it's like, for me, like, it's a new beginning, right? It's a new start. And I say that, not to say that, oh, I'm just beginning life, but it's something refreshing when you have a new era. And, the 20s and the 30s, it's like, we just really trying to figure it out. Like, we all just kind of navigating through life, and what falls upon us, we take and we keep moving. But now it's kind of like, for me, I'm like moving with intention and moving with purpose right now in this season, and I'm excited about it.
So one thing, what actually, so your life has been a journey from point A to point B and so on and so forth. What navigated you to make certain decisions? Was it just your belief system in yourself? Or was it just, I'm going to take this risk and just see what happens?
Oh, certain decisions. I mean, it all was a risk. It all was a risk. And I've been blessed enough that God kept his hand on everything that I've done so that I was able to see success. But it was all a risk. I didn't have a pen and paper navigating things. You know what I mean? I went out, even becoming an administrator, it's like, you kind of look for people to advocate for you, but they don't do it. I have to step out on that and go to the right people that opened up doors for me. Same thing with, now that you get the credentials, like, I have to get the credentials before anybody looked at me.
Study to show thyself approved.
And once I got that, of course, the doors opened up, and from the next level to the next level. But it's, really advocating and taking risks for your own self. You know what I mean? Nobody, of course, I had some voices behind the scenes. I had some incredible people who believed in me and spoke up to me. You know, I have quite a few. I ain't gonna name any names. We said not to, but you know, I mean, you know, you definitely, yeah, shout out to y'all. You definitely on all the journeys on your own, but yeah, the decisions, they just come along, and that's what it was in the 20s and the 30s. But now it's like, hey, I want to move now with intention on everything that I do, and you know, man, just really open my life fully to Christ so that He can, you know, give me my purpose and I can follow through that, you know. So that's why I am within this stage and this season of the 40s, shall we say.
Okay. So basically, it all comes back to self and your mental state and your belief. Because other than that, I guess you'll just fall for anything, and it's just like a never-ending cycle of just mess,
man, it is.
And madness.
It is. It can be.
So intentional is definitely the word for 2025. Be intentional and walk within your purpose. And with that being said, thank you so much, Thomeka, for coming on. This has been a great pleasure. And hopefully soon we'll do another part 2 because she's gonna be married, y'all. Look at her.
Oh. Thank you. Put that out there. Definitely. I receive that.
God's grace. And she's such a beautiful person. That's another big thing is the energy that you give off and being personable to people, because you never really know who you will network with and how they can say something to this person and then voila, boom, here you go. So just watching your energy, being cool, staying calm, being intentional, and walking in your purpose. So that concludes episode 4. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.